Alright guys, done really well so far this season. We haven't lost a single game. All we've got left of this final. Western Suburbs have beat them like 4 or 5 times already this season. Let's just go up to Wellington, get the job done, and get that psychological advantage before the Champions League and hopefully Club World Cup next year, boys. Let's finish off this season with a perfect record and all the trophies.
Party in the streets and the city's on fire.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 169 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both Cash Music together and the All Whites. I hope you're doing well, and come up today we're going to finish off 2040 with the National League Championship Grand Final, and you'll see shortly who that is against off the back of a youth intake and also a recap of an international window with the All Whites. So if you're looking forward to that as well as stuff like the transfer budget and the end of season review, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. Yesterday we played an international window against the Ivory Coast of Mexico with the All Whites. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Some decent results there with a couple of new boys from Kashmir Tech getting their first of a couple of caps before we go forward through an international window and also to the National League Grand Final, which thankfully we did make. This youth intake did pop up just off the back of that most recent international window that we played off camera. It's not the worst one, and obviously at this point of the save, probably not going to impact us too much here at Kashmir Tech, but one decent player with more than 3-star potential. That is Peter Essajaz, a deep-lying playmaker who can go a bit further forward or a bit further back. We probably want him there, seeing as that's where we usually play our deep-lying playmaker, but he looks like the best prospect from this year's youth intake with that 1-star current ability and 3.5-star potential. A couple of nice yellow attributes there in his mentals. Other players will probably sign Steve Mason, who is a left-back, 1/2-star current ability and 3-star potential. Also going down a bit further, we've got Blair Hastings, who is a right-winger come striker. Also, I think we've got one more, at least in fact it's two. Giannis Papadopoulos is a central attacking midfielder. That name sounds familiar. Maybe he's the son of one of the former players. In fact, it's not the case, but he is part Greek. I did think we had a part Greek player with a similar last name here at one point. Maybe that was at AFC Auckland. And the last player we're probably going to sign is Josh Payne, who is another right winger, and the rest of them don't look too good. So those are the best of our prospects from this year's youth intake. Probably going to be our second to last one here at Kashmir Tech, because of course in 2 years' time, World Cup will be done, and we probably will be as well in terms of the save. But off the back of that international window we did get through yesterday, we have one more to go this year. We were going to take on El Salvador, I believe it was, in a friendly before our first one in World Cup qualifying, which was against the Solomon Islands. El Salvador pulled out, as you might have seen late on in yesterday's episode, so I did replace them and didn't want to take on a team who were too high up the world rankings. We took on Canada. Those guys are in 85th, so I thought this should be a nice comfy win for us. Can actually use our first team players in this game and then give the rotation ones a bit of a go in that clash against the Solomon Islands. As it turned out, this game was actually a bit dicey, even though this one was played in New Zealand. We were definitely the better team in this game, but unfortunately Canada had 2 shots on target, albeit one was from the penalty spot. That one, very dodgy penalty given away there by Simon Curtis, but they put that away off the back of grabbing a goal back at the 34-minute mark through Mark Preston, but thankfully early goal to Justin Keat, as well as a double either side of halftime to George McDonald, did mean we picked up a 3-2 win, but that is a lot closer than it should be, considering we're around 15th in the world. Those guys 70 places below us on the world rankings. Of course, these days, no players like Alphonso Davies. They have fallen quite a way on the world rankings. So that, not the best result there before our first World Cup qualifier, but obviously Solomon Islands, they're an even worse team down in 130th team. We've beaten lots so far in the save, and 2 players picked up hat-tricks as we beat them 6-0. Sean Pearce and Chris Jones. Chris Jones got his done inside the first half. Sean Pearce had to wait for a late penalty to complete his hat-trick, but that scoreline a lot more comfortable. So a good start there to our World Cup qualifiers with the All Whites, but to be fair, you'd expect that hopefully can get through the rest of that off camera during the course of next season. Our first window is in March, and we've got back-to-back games against New Caledonia and the Solomon Islands before taking on New Caledonia again halfway through next year, and off the back, hopefully can schedule a few more tougher friendlies before we do get into that last FIFA World Cup. But now I can switch over into Kashmir Tech mode and show you guys what happened in our last couple of games of the National League Championship off the back of that Chatham Cup final. We did play a couple of days ago. We took on Havelock North, picked up a 2-0 win there. Very similar performance against Christchurch United in the same scoreline. Then we beat Auckland United 3-0, so keeping some nice clean sheets during the course of this National League Championship. And that continued in November, 3-0 over Auckland City, 1-0 over the Phoenix Reserves. So those guys pushed us quite close. Late goal there to Stuart McPherson, our new backup Scottish central attacking midfielder, albeit, unfortunately, he won't actually be here next season because he's on a non-contract. Barnsley swooped in and grabbed him, and he's going to get paid something like 12 grand a week. So a short stint there for Stuart McPherson at Kashmir Tech. Probably won't feature in this final coming up. But off the back of that and that international break, which we did just recap, picked up a 2-0 win over Napier City Rovers. So it did mean we went through the National League Championship phase with a perfect record, and also we didn't concede a single goal. And in the final, we're going to be taking on yet again Western Suburbs. They just did enough to finish above both the Phoenix Reserves and Manurewa. So it's the good old clash here of the last couple of years in the save, and also throughout the course of this year, we take on the boys from Porirua. The Northern League didn't end up doing too bad. Manurewa up in 4th, Western Springs in 5th, Auckland United in 8th, Christchurch United actually a bit of a disappointment this season, down in 9th. But Auckland City, after winning the Northern League, they just picked up one win. It was one of the Northern League opposition in Western Springs. Put the fries in the bag, guys. You wash. Those guys absolutely struggling these days. But we're going to take on Western Suburbs in this season's National League Championship Grand Final. So it's a little bit of a change from last season where, of course, it was the Phoenix Reserves. But Western Suburbs finished third. They still got in the Champions League. That's also going to be the case for next season. But Western Suburbs, their 2 losses came against us and Manurewa, where they dropped points against Western Springs and the Phoenix Reserves. So definitely a bit more sketchy than we were. And to be fair, their goal differential also not too great, only 5 in their favour. They conceded 11 goals while we conceded none. So hopefully that's a sign that they're a bit leaky defensively and we can beat them as we have done every time we've played them so far this season. Obviously, Chatham Cup final a couple of days ago, bet them 4-1. At the Champions League semi earlier this season, 3-0 in the first leg, 2-1 in the second leg. And that's been it, to be fair, because of course Charity Cup, we took on the Phoenix Reserves. So far this season, been picking up some relatively comfortable wins against Western Suburbs. Hopefully that will continue here in this year's final. Just make sure that they've got a pretty similar squad to the last time we did take them on. Also, of course, bet them 2-0 in the league before that Chatham Cup final. And indeed, they do look very similar. So hopefully we can beat them yet again here in this upcoming final, albeit are going to be missing Sam Clark in terms of starting for this game. He got injured in that recent stretch we played off camera and is only recommended for 45 minutes. Actually missed that most recent window with the All Whites. He makes his way onto the bench. Tristan Turner, he gets promoted above him. But apart from that, it's our best 11 for the National League with Zajic there as the second under-20 player alongside Rivera. Coming in, or usually it would be Hosafa if this was a Champions League game. But hopefully our guys can complete here a perfect season and we can lift the National League trophy yet again by picking up a win over Western Suburbs. And here are the team sheets for this 2040 National League final here in New Zealand. There are Western Suburbs still going with their 4-3-3, and indeed it does look like a pretty similar team to what we took on in the Chatham Cup final a few days ago. There we are still going with the 4-2-3, and obviously, seeing as we haven't lost a game for 150 matches or something ridiculous here at Kashmir Tech, just that one change, as I mentioned, Turner coming in for Clark off the back of that recent injury. But first highlight here is a throw-in. So you could argue the home team, seeing as this one is being played in Wellington, and also for some reason they got the home changing room, even though we finished 10 points or something above them on that National League Championship table. Don't know how that happened, especially because their name begins with W and we begin with C. But anyway, hopefully that won't have too much of an impact. But early stages, they're passing this ball around like they're blimmin' Barcelona. So this is a bit worrying here. Western Suburbs actually looking quite good early stages of this game. Fellows plays that one back there to Atokona, gets it back, goes forward there to Gibb on the right-hand side. Fellows squares that one for Junior Duval. That's a rocket into the top right corner. Nothing that David Cifuentes can do about that one, even off the back of a couple of good performances so far in the All Whites. But that is a really good opening goal from Western Suburbs, so much for them being a bit average in terms of their goal differential. That's a really nice strike, does get some help there from the inside of the post, but we concede a goal for the first time in a long time here at Kashmir Tech and go 1-0 down early. And going forward to just past the 15-minute mark from the next highlight of this final so far, not much has happened apart from that stunning goal that Western Suburbs did score, but thankfully looks like here we have the ball. Zajic played that one out there to Rivera, nice ball over the top there for Khalid, makes his way inside the box, thankfully Namato brings him down. I think that was the name there, the left-sided centre-back, I think that was, for Western Suburbs, and Khalid here will get the chance to put the penalty away. He holds his nerve, goes straight down the middle. Diaz went to his right, and thankfully we level things up here at 1-1, and considering how stingy our defence usually is, you'd hope. Off the back of this now, we can kick on and get the job done, but thankfully not behind for too long. 1-1 at the 20-minute mark. And going forward a couple of minutes off the back of that goal we got back from the penalty spot, a highlight starts here, and that's a shocking tackle on Turner well before the ball made its way to him there from Fellows, and that could be all she wrote for this game because that's a straight red card. Western Suburbs are now down to 10 men. Surely we now kick on and beat these guys to lift another trophy. And to be fair, it's taken a little while for the next highlight in this game, just shy of the 40-minute mark, but there's a corner here in our favour. We don't do much from it, but Khalid plays it back in for Young, squares that nicely. Back out to Khalid, tries to put that one top right corner, but unfortunately it's off target. And now getting quite close to half-time, and honestly, a little bit disappointed with the fact we haven't put the foot down as much as I'd like off the back of that red card about halfway through that first half before then. Very nice early goal to Western Suburbs. We grab one back from the penalty spot. You can actually see there the match momentum does actually look a bit better than I thought it was, but we've definitely been on the front foot off the back of that penalty, and obviously the red card a big factor as well. What we're going to do here is take off O on a yellow card. Khalid can play out left and Alex Moore can come on at right wing. And also, let's get on our international experience with Sam Clark for Tristan Turner. A couple of changes to hopefully just calm things down and make sure we get the job done here against 10 men, which we should be doing 1-1, but obviously that man advantage in the second half could prove quite important. And we've been away a long time here for the first highlight of the second half, so still a bit concerned with how we're going against only 10 men, but thankfully the Western Suburbs try and clear their lines, don't do a good job. Now Rivera starts to make his way in between some players there, takes on a shot, big deflection. I think that was from the Maito, who's picked up a yellow card since giving away that penalty earlier in the game, but thankfully for Western Suburbs, Diaz there does make quite a good save. And now I think it's a good time here for us to make our final sub. Just going to see who the best option might be of the players who are on the bench. There's a few out there on some average ratings. I think maybe Debenham at left back might not be a bad shout in place of Sousa. So let's see if that helps as well as putting those wide players onto attack, try and get us on the front foot a bit more, as still concerningly, it's locked up at 1-1.
Yeah.
And unbelievably, just a couple of minutes on from that final sub we made, Alex Moore is going to be forced from the field with an injury, so that's concerning. Now I'm going to figure out what we do here, seeing as we are down to 10 men, just like Western Suburbs. To be fair, if we don't get our act into gear and this one goes into extra time, we should be able to replace him and bring on some fresh legs and go back to 11 versus 10. But hopefully we should get the job done, so we can put here Khalid back to his more natural position of right wing. He can go on for support. We'll keep Rivera onto attack, but Debenham is the only player down that left-hand side. He can go back onto support instead of attack. But now, 10 versus 10, we're about to make our way to the last 10 minutes of this game. We've definitely been the dominant team in this game, but unfortunately could not make the most of that long period where we do have the man advantage. And they're young, loose touch, and Western Suburbs actually might get a chance to do something on the counter-attack, but thankfully give that ball straight back to us. Now, nice one over the top there for Rivera. Picks out Kamalo inside the box, but unfortunately can't get that one on target. There's no Wale Khalid so accurate with his head. And now we go down the other end. Western Suburbs might be spurred on here by the fact that we're now down to 10 men just like they are, albeit ours was for injury, not for a dodgy tackle. But now Kamalo does get in behind yet again, tries to put that one into the top left corner. Probably the right corner might have been the better option, but decent save there from Diaz. Yet again, made a couple of good ones here in the second half. And now Jamie Young from set piece. What can he do? Looking there for Zajic, and that one actually gets tipped over by Diaz. So a couple of really good saves here from the Western Suburbs goalkeeper as we continue to apply the pressure, but unfortunately, still 1-1, not doing too well here in open play today. Now it's actually a good chance for Western Suburbs on the counter-attack. Not many players back there from that set piece we did just have, but thankfully, for some reason, they stop there in midfield and play a ball over the top, which Cifuentes, he can grab nice and easily. He throws it out there, one of our centre-backs, and the highlight stops now. I think we chuck Khalid onto attack and just see if that does anything late on in this one, and also go a bit more expressive and also a bit wider in terms of our attack. Let's just see if that helps us grab a goal in the last couple of minutes of this game. Really disappointed with that period of about 50 minutes where we had the man advantage and did not make the most of it. That hopefully won't prove costly, but this one is going to go to extra time. It's going a bit bottly here in the final of the National League, but thankfully now we should be able to bring someone on at left wing or at least right wing, depending on what's available on the bench. Rivera can play right wing, so let's bring Clark on. He can switch with Rivera, who will switch with Khalid, so he can go to left wing. Then we'll put Debenham back to right back, and Clark can go to left back. So I think that will work also. Let's just go back to how we usually do things here at Cashmere Tech now that we are back to 11 versus 10. But I think now we get a bit shouty at the boys because that was not very good while we had the man advantage. Hopefully things change in extra time as it's 1-1. And a very early highlight here in the first period of extra time. A throw inside the final third. Clark gets that one back, floats it far post there for Rivera, who heads it down for Prince Kamalo, who finally gets on the score sheet so far. Been pretty average in this one, but that time puts that one into the ground and beats Diaz. And hopefully with this extra set of legs, this will help us here in 30 added minutes. Rivera there, nice header into the ground, and Kamalo thinks that's a good idea to put that one past Diaz into the right corner. And finally, we go in front with this one-man advantage early on in extra time. And just before half time here in the first period of extra time, we did have the ball there, but a really rough pass. Rivera just jetted off there, but it got left well behind him with an interception from Western Suburbs. They definitely want a goal back soon in this one, but might be quite tight, obviously, being a man down compared to us these days. But so far, holding on to the ball fairly well. Burgess plays that out to Jones, goes back there to Guarneri, and now Thomas might just be a little bit in behind our defence there. On our right-hand side, and Zajic, thankfully, he took on the shot. That one goes just over the bar, but that's it for the first half of extra time. That early goal to Kamalo does mean we're 2-1 in front. And just sneaking around to the last 5 minutes of this game, thankfully still 2-1 in front of throw there for Western Suburbs. For some reason, they give that one to Jason Clark. Tries to pick out Kamalo there inside the box, but that ball a bit too deep, so Diaz can claim that. Pumps it deep, looking there for Thomas for the Western Suburbs, and they do keep the ball there, albeit poor pass. Now Khalid does get in behind. What will he do? Just outside the box, makes his way inside and beats Diaz at his near post, and surely that's the goal to wrap this one up, makes it 3-1, and with only 10 men and 4 minutes left, you think that's game over. It's taken us a lot longer than it should have with that man advantage, but finally, in extra time, we get the job done. Early goal there to Kamalo, and now one to Walid Khalid, who continues to be probably up there in terms of player of the save, at least in terms of our time at Cashmere Tech. He picks up a goal, 3-1. That should put this one to bed, finally put the nail in the coffin of Western Suburbs. But to be fair, they are on the attack here. Let's see what they do. They hold the ball nicely. Jones out there at right back on a yellow card, tries to float that one far post, but Debenham can hit it away. And now Rivera starts to make his way forward down that right-hand side. What can he do so far? Actually doing a really good job on that right wing. Now Young was in behind there, gets pulled from Wynn, who's on a yellow card. Western Suburbs have lost their heads. They go down to 9 men. Off the back of that, we may as well go very attacking and see what that does with a 2-man advantage off the back of that corner, which goes near post, and Peter Zajic will put that away. The youngster grabs a goal in this final. That makes it 4-1. That one, I don't know if going very attacking helped out, considering it was from set piece, but it's a really good header just inside of that near post, and that now quite clears the scoreline, considering we had to take this one to extra time. But Western Suburbs do have the ball here from the restart. Guarneri will try and make his way forward, but to be fair now, we should have a big numbers advantage with 2 extra players, and Clark there does some good work at left back to win that back for us. Now Anderson plays it over to Debenham, who starts to charge forward down that right-hand side. Rivera, he now makes his way forward, as I said, going quite well there at right back. but he gets brought down by the player who earlier gave away a penalty and is now on a yellow card. And would you believe it, he gets shown a second yellow. Western Suburbs might have to forfeit this game soon. They're down to 8 men. I'm not too sure how many players it is if you lose, where the referee actually has to call the game off, but they do continue because there wasn't long left in that one. But 3 red cards, 2 of them in extra time to Western Suburbs. The big talking point there, to be fair, their discipline was also a factor in the goal that we did score against them, considering that was from the penalty spot. Thankfully, Wale Khaled did put that one away. Had a brief period where it was back to 10 versus 10 when Alex Moore went off with 15 minutes left, but going to extra time, we could make that sub and go back to having an advantage. We made it 2-1 and then 3-1, and then they completely lost their heads. 2 red cards, another goal to us does mean we pick up the National League Championship here at Kashmir Tech. But to be fair, we probably should have got that one done inside 90 minutes, but thankfully still pick up the win, 4-1, after 3 red cards to Western Suburbs. So a bit of relief and joy in that one that we just played there, the National League Grand Final for 2040. Not too happy with the fact that it took until extra time against 10 men, but we pick up a 4-1 win, and also they picked up 2 more red cards, finished the game with only 8 players. That's definitely the worst discipline I've seen from a team ever in an FM game. So that's quite funny. But here's the team of the year for the National League this season. Sifuentes in goal, Susaho, Safa, Anderson, and Rivera at the back. That's our first choice back line. Zajic is on the bench, a bit harsh on him considering he started a lot more games than Hosafa did. Brown at left wing, and obviously Khaled at right wing, and Kamalo up front with Johnston and Otto also on the bench. But surprising there that Otto's on the bench while Brown starts. But to be fair, did have an injury for a little bit of the season. But also we are here because we've got our transfer budgets for next season. Our wage budget has been increased back up to 40.5k, so I think that means now we're actually in the clear for that. Indeed we are. £2,800 a week that we can spend, so that's actually quite handy. No longer over that after the reduction we did have about halfway through the season. And the transfer budget itself is 21k, but to be fair, I think you guys know what's going to happen with that. They'll get slid over into that wage budget, so a little bit of money to play with before the Champions League, and hopefully as well a trip to the Club World Cup next season. And in a few clicks off the back of those transfer budgets coming through, bit of big news here coming in terms of the All Whites. Tyler Binden is going to retire at the end of this upcoming European season, so that is a big loss for us with the All Whites, because this is going to happen a year before that World Cup. I did think that might be the case. I did bring it up, I think, in yesterday's episode. These days, 35 years old, 120 caps, really has been a starter for us for the most part of the safe, kind of similar to Alex Paulson before he retired. But that does mean that someone like Josh Wilson or Jeevan Nathan now probably starts alongside Simon Curtis going into that next World Cup. So we're going to have a couple of new centre-backs in that all-white squad, but Tyler Binden, that might be him done for the save in terms of on-camera appearances. Not too sure if we pick him anymore. He's not going to make his way to that World Cup. But a really good career, 120 caps, 8 goals, but he's going to be gone a year before that next World Cup. And we've gone forward to the 8th of December in game for some reason, despite the fact that all this stuff is popping up, like the manager timeline, the supporter profile update, and the stuff like club vision and expectations. There you can see what the board want to see from us next year. It currently doesn't say we're going to the Club World Cup, but you'd think we would be with all the Champions Leagues. We have one in a row, but for some reason, there's no end of season review. So I suppose we'll have a quick look here at the manager timeline, just see what's changed on this. Let's just go back here briefly and see what popped up in 2040. A couple of free signings in Ahmed Al-Dazari and Jorge Rivera, of course. Only one of them is still here, so I guess that means that Jorge Rivera probably picks up our signing of the season. Our stadium got expanded in the Shaun Does FM Arena up to 11,000 people, 800 games in charge, beat Western Suburbs in the first leg of the Champions League semis, picked up the Champions League with Khaled being the top goal scorer, snuck our way up to 13th in the world at one point with the All Whites back in June, picked up the Southern League, and then got 2 players in who apparently had quite high reputations in Alex Moore and Stuart McPherson once the European season did finish. Unfortunately, McPherson, as I said, won't be here next season. Also, Alex Moore, we'll click on that shortly. His injury is quite a bad one. From that National League final, picked up the Chatham Cup with Kamalo being the top goal scorer, and did pick up the National League with Jorge Rivera picking up the Player of the Year. We picked up Manager of the Year and did go undefeated, albeit slightly annoying that it did go to extra time in that final game, but thankfully we did get the job done. You can see in the save now, it's 78 trophies we've picked up with both Cashmere Technicolor and the All Whites. But going over and having a look at the team itself so we can hopefully figure out who our player of the season was before we wrap this one up. As you can see there, what our attributes look like these days for our manager in game these days. 4.5-star reputation. Could probably go actually quite a good job over in Europe if we wanted to, but we'll actually go over here to the squad and hopefully can have a look at selection info and see who got the best average rating for this season, and it was Jorge Rivera, so I think he would have picked up the signing of the season. In terms of player of the season, I usually think that goes to the player with the most gold contributions, and that might be Wale Khaled, but it could also be that they gave the player of the year to Jorge Rivera. So I think at least in terms of based on ratings, you probably have to say it would have been a clean sweep for Jorge Rivera. Our top goal scorer though, that was Prince Camalo with 38, 10 clear of Khaled and 10 further back to Johnston, and then Otto with 12, Brown with 9, Young with 7, and a big clump of players there who did score between 5 and 1 goal. Going over to assist, that was topped by Jorge Rivera with 19, Otto not too far behind with 17, Clark and Brown, they got 10, Khaled and Young, they got 9, 8 for Debenham, and again, quite a big clump of players there who got 5 or less. So I think that's a decent end of season review without actually getting the item pop up in our inbox. In terms of the competitions, of course we won them all. Hopefully can do something similar next year, but that might be easier said than done because we should be on our way to a Club World Cup. But that will do it for 2040 in the save. We picked up all the trophies at Cashmere Tech and of course also won the OFC Nations Cup with the All Whites. If you enjoyed it, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll come back hopefully tomorrow, maybe Monday, with a song coming out tomorrow, so if there's no video Friday, that might be why, but nonetheless, next time we come back, it will be for a transfer roundup, definitely. Now need to back up central attacking midfielder in behind Jamie Young off the back of that departure of Stuart McPherson, and also we'll get stuck in to the group phases of the OFC Champions League. Also just quickly, that injury to Alex Moore damaged our Achilles tendons. He's out for 3 to 5 months. He actually will be missing for a decent chunk of that Champions League, so maybe also need a temporary option at right wing before we do make our way to that Club World Cup. So maybe a couple of transfers we need to make, and of course also, as I said, we'll make our way to the group stages of that OFC Champions League. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.